Evening, Shaji Prabhakaran, President of DSA, joining us. Good evening, Shaji. Welcome to the show.
Pleasure.
Well, before we get started, interestingly, Group A and Group B matches are over. It's the time, it's now or never. If you play well, you look for the knockouts. But if you don't play this final game well, you can very well say goodbye to your World Cup campaign. Argentina very much on the verge of it. But before we discuss Argentina, let's take a look at Group C on how things are, because the French team looking very much powerful, and the French team taking on Denmark tonight in that opening fixture at 7:30 p.m. Let's take a look at what's in store in that particular game. The top two teams in Group C, France and Denmark, square off in that final group fixture on Tuesday evening. France enters this 2018 World Cup match in the first place in Group C with 6 points, while Denmark sits two back with 4 after 2 games. Denmark's national team knows that a draw against France will secure it a pass into the round of 16. However, a loss to France and an Australian victory over winless Peru could see the Danes' hopes of advancing past the group stage go down to a total goals tiebreaker. Meanwhile, France enters this World Cup 2018 match with a pair of 1-goal victories in Russia. France defeated Australia 2-1 in its opening match and then snatched a 1-0 victory over Peru thanks to Mbappé's tap-in goal. Mbappé has now become France's youngest goal scorer at a major tournament at just 19 years and 183 days. So it's an interesting contest there in Group C between the two teams. Let's now also take a look at that France-Denmark stats in this particular World Cup on how the two teams have played. If you see goals, Denmark scored 2, France has got 3 shots on target, just 1 there more for France. In terms of passes, in terms of yellow cards too, Denmark ahead of France, but in this particular game it's going to be an interesting contest there between the two sides. So, before we get started, let's get opening remarks there from Shaji before we talk about Australia versus Peru. Shaji, looking at this particular game, are you surprised what the French team could today bring to the table, or would you say it's an even contest between France and Denmark?
I think based on what I saw between Denmark and France, I would put my bet on France. Because they look far more superior in every aspect of the game. Okay. And Denmark, if they step up, definitely they can put a fight.
Okay, let's also now take a look at that other game there. Another contest there in Group C. Australia must this evening beat Peru to keep their faint hopes alive of reaching that World Cup knockout stage, but their fate is not in their hands. A 1-1 draw with Denmark meant Australia went into that final round of games still in with a shout, but they need France to do them a big favor in this outing. France need to win this game, and Australia need to win that outing for Australia to smell a chance of making it to the round of 16. Well, now let's take a look at the possible scenarios in Group C, in case we reach the scenario levels. This is the first scenario. France need a point against Denmark to top the group. So France is only looking for a draw in this particular game. They finish with 7 and they could be the table toppers. Denmark in this particular match could finish first, second or third in this group. Denmark also, if they lose and Australia win, Aussies go into the round of 16 and Denmark can pack their bags home. Let's suppose Denmark and Australia both win, then it's a split by fair play in this particular routing. And when it's a split by fair play, it could go down, it could go down Denmark's way, but then, that's a likely possibility that we are looking at, both the games drawing there. And, this particular match, just like Group B, you had 2 games. The final round of matches in both the games in Group B ended in draws. So it's going to be an interesting contest that we are looking at. We hope that doesn't happen. But let's get Saji back. Saji, looking at Australia versus Peru, do you see Australia having a chance of, getting a win under their belt? And maybe France do them a favor and they're crawling into that round of 16.
Yes, Australia last 2 matches they really played well. And they're a bit unlucky, they could not score their chances. And Peru at the same time, they want to go back with something, a win. And that way it won't be an easy match. It will be a very, very hard-fought contest. And it won't be easy for Australia. But I fancy Australia in this match.
Okay, Australia you fancy in this game. Coming back to that France versus Denmark game, how things stand, do you expect Denmark to trouble the French team? Because, French have always managed a 1-0 victory, even if the 2-1 victory over Australia. Australia managed to break that French wall. So, is it a narrow game that you're looking at, France versus Denmark, or do you see it as a high-scoring one?
It won't be a high-scoring match, but Denmark possibilities depends upon Eriksen.
Okay.
If France able to provide, if we get space, and Eriksen will be dangerous.
Okay.
And that is where France will be, strategizing how to stop Eriksen from, providing that killing pass.
Okay, Eriksen needs to be stopped for Denmark to look at something to happen in that particular game. Now, we've also got Group D match action coming tonight. Group D is an interesting group. Remember, Argentina were expected to top this group, but Argentina is at the bottom of this group, and Argentina is struggling, rather looking for, a lot of permutation combination to make it to the round of 16. Let's now take a look at the table toppers in this group, how they are playing and who they are playing tonight. Croatia up against Iceland. Croatia have already clinched a spot in the World Cup round of 16, but it is hoping to wrap up Group D on Tuesday, while Iceland wants to sneak through into the next round in second place. The two meet in Rostov with so much on the line, especially for the underdogs. We may see Croatia rest some of its stars with the group nearly wrapped up, while Iceland will likely go on an attacking formation to try to get a win, which it needs to have a chance to move on. Croatia can win the group with a draw, while Iceland need a win and a help from the Argentina-Nigeria game to progress. So it's an interesting contest there between the two sides. Croatia know a draw is enough for them to qualify, but for the Iceland team, a population of 330,000 people there, they must be praying that the Iceland team come with that pair of shoes on which they played Argentina and not the one that they played against Nigeria. Well, let's also take a look at that Iceland-Croatia stats in this particular World Cup on how the two teams have played in this World Cup. That's how the stats are. Croatia has got 5 goals in this particular tournament. Iceland, that opener against Argentina, is all that they have against their name. Shots on target, Croatia very much there taking that lead. Also in terms of yellow cards, see, that's one interesting number. Iceland, even though they have just scored 1 goal in this particular tournament and have lost 1 game, Iceland yet to pick a yellow card in this particular World Cup. So that's the big positive that Iceland is looking at in this World Cup. They need a win today and hope that Nigeria do them a favor by holding Argentina in that particular outing. That is also taking place simultaneously at the same time at 11:30 p.m. Saji, looking back at that game, Iceland versus Croatia, how do you see that particular game playing out? Do you see Croatia, looking rather laid back? They've got their berths booked, or do they still want to look at, having a point to score here, ending up with 9 points from 3 games?
See, what will happen is Croatia will be putting the bench strength today up, because the 6 players they will rest, because those who are on yellow card.
Okay.
So therefore they won't like to risk. But those players who are coming from the bench would like to prove themselves also. So therefore they won't be be making it easy for Iceland. They still have to work hard, and I see it's a draw match basically.
Okay, it's a drawn game is what Saji is predicting. We also got Swampal joining us on the phone line. He's there tracking that World Cup for us. Swam, good evening. How do you look at this particular game? Let's come to that big game that we are talking about, Argentina versus Nigeria. How do you see this game panning out? Do you see Lionel Messi and boys having the firepower today to, crossing the bridge and taking the team to the round of 16?
Hi Anil. I would rather say that this game is a game between Messi and Musa.
Okay.
Because Argentina's star player is Lionel Messi and Nigeria's star player is Ahmed Musa, and both of them are like locking horns, and it's gonna be a contest between the two of the best players of the respective teams. So Musa has scored already 2 goals in the previous game, but Messi is still goalless at this moment, and all eyes are on Messi because he's under fire for a while, because he hasn't scored a single goal in this World Cup and he missed a penalty, and Argentina have lost 2 games, and if they fail to win today's game, so this will be for the first time since 1934 that Argentina will fail to win a single game at a World Cup.
Okay.
And that's why the burden is on Messi, and Musa has scored, and in fact the last World Cup in 2014, the two teams played against each other. In that game, Argentina swept through by 3-2 margin. In that match, Messi scored 2 goals.
Swam, considering Messi, you needed Messi magic there to take you through I think we've lost our connection there with Suam. Thank you, Suam, for joining us with those updates there. Coming back to that game that we was discussing with Suam, Argentina fights for its World Cup life on the final match day of Group D play as Lionel Messi and company take on second place Nigeria on Tuesday night. Argentina sits last place in the group, tied with Iceland in points, but with a worse goal differential to -2 to -1. With just a points from its 2 games, Argentina is in dire need for its talisman to fire against its final group stage opponent Nigeria and ensure a longer stay in this particular World Cup. A Nigerian win over debutant Iceland has offered the South American giants a lifeline, and a comfortable win over the African side in its last group game will ensure its progress to the knockout stage. An Icelandic win over already qualified Croatia, however, can make things complicated, with goal difference coming into play to decide the second spot in Group D. Well, let's also take a look at that Nigeria-Argentina stats in the 2018 World Cup on how the two teams have played. Surprise of surprise, Argentina after 2 matches, just 1 goal against their name. Nigeria scoring 2 in that win over Iceland. Passes completed. Argentina has got almost 1,070 pluses there. Yellow cards too. Argentina has picked 3 yellow cards. Most of their defenders there in the line of fire. And I think Sampaoli has a task on his hand when he needs to put that team together for this big game. Well, that's how things stand. In this particular group. Argentina under tremendous pressure in this game. Saji, looking at a do or die outing here for Argentina, do you expect Lionel Messi to help Argentina cross the line again?
He's a genius, he's a legend, he can come anytime alive, and if the qualification time as well, the last match where he scored the hat-trick, so therefore the legends like him, can come to that level any moment.
Okay.
So therefore to expect that, it is very realistic, but as Argentina as a team has to come together, and they have to strengthen the midfield where Messi should get the support, and without that support coming in, they can't take Messi's advantage being a player of Argentina.
Okay, we've got Suam Pal back there with us on the phone line. Suam, looking at the game that Argentina has played in the 2 matches gone by, do you somewhere feel the football that Argentina plays reminds you of the hockey that Indian team played, in the early 2000s? Putting more passes together but not having shots on goal.
Right, because Argentina, they're playing too many passes. But at the end of the day, they are, I think, over-dependent on Messi to score.
Okay.
And, every time Messi can't score because the opposition, they also do their homework, they do their planning to stop Messi. So that's why, the other players have to really step up their game and they really have to score. So that's what's happening, and there is a big vacuum there. You can see if Messi is not playing, the other players are not playing. So that is really bad for Argentina at this moment. And today, I hope they will rectify that error and they will try to step up their game. They will try to pull up their socks today. That's what we are expecting today.
Okay, Suam, a word on VAR technology. Is it more of a headache or is it more of a benefit for the referees, considering what the decisions that you have seen with VARs across this particular World Cup? What's your take on the VAR technology?
Yeah, technology is always debatable because no technology is foolproof, and this World Cup technology, when this VAR debate is it's been on, and on certain points, the decision taken by the VAR, by the referee, has come out to be true and come out to be correct. But also there are certain cases in which the referee should have opted for the VAR, but he didn't opt for it, and sometimes VAR has been it's been questioned and it's been debatable. As you know, in cricket, the hotspot and Hawkeye are always debated. So similar to Hawkeye and hotspot in cricket, in football, VAR has been debated. And I guess FIFA, a technical committee has to come out with a foolproof plan which can make the VAR more efficient and more effective and error-proof. That's what I believe.
Okay, Suam, thank you and appreciate you joining us this evening with those updates there on that World Cup. 2 big games there in both the groups to watch out for. Coming back to Saji here, Saji, since we're talking VR technology, do you feel that fall by in that opening game by Neymar, the theatrical fall that he had, Ronaldo's last match penalty, that the referee gave, and a few goals here and there in between thanks to VAR, is it more of a benefit to the game or more a headache to the referee? How do you see it?
See, what I would personally say that it has benefited the game, because I would look at those decisions where the teams got something out of it, and that way it is positive. But we have to understand that VR is at a very infancy stage. It has to improve a lot, and I think the experience from the World Cup will help in coming out with the right system, because the referrals, how the referees do all those referrals have to improve a lot, because there is inconsistency a lot. And that is where the all criticism is coming, and it is. I don't say there is no debate on that, because we need to be consistent. And if the technology is not bringing that consistency, therefore there is something massively wrong.
Okay, one quick word. My producer is calling me for a break. One quick word. Considering what Ronaldo did last evening, that a nudge there in international football, there inside the box, is a clear-cut red card. Why did it go otherwise? The technology was used there, but technology there didn't give positive results. And Iran felt cheated at the end of the day. How do you look at these kind of problems that crop up in a World Cup game?
Yeah, referee did look into the replays, and there was no clear cut indication that his elbowing was intentional. So that's why he got yellow card rather than a red card, I would say. Okay,
their lucky escape, I would say, in this World Cup for Cristiano Ronaldo. He's still there in that race for that golden boot with 4 goals. But then yesterday was looked off color, missing that penalty, a big penalty that he's missed in this World Cup. We'll discuss more on that Argentina-Nigeria game, but on this other side of this short breather. Stay tuned with Cup of Glory.
आओ बलविंदर जी, आजकल आपके ड्राइवर ज्यादा इधर आने जाने लगे हैं, और आज तो आप खुद ही आ गए।
आजकल सफर में समय जो बचता है वो क्या है कि अब हमें अलग अलग राज्यों के लिए अलग अलग ट्रांजिट पास नहीं लेने पड़ते, टैक्स ऑफिस नहीं जाना पड़ता, ट्रकों को किसी लाइन में लगने की भी कोई जरूरत नहीं है।
कोई नया हाईवे पकड़ा है क्या?
हाईवे नहीं, ईवे।
ईवे? अब किसी भी राज्य से किसी राज्य में माल लाने ले जाने के लिए बस एक ही ईवे बिल चाहिए, जिसने 50 से भी ज्यादा फॉर्म्स की जगह ली है।
और मैं इसे वेबसाइट, मोबाइल ऐप या अपने रजिस्टर्ड मोबाइल नंबर से बस एक SMS भेज के पा सकता हूँ।
भाई, ईवे बिल आपका बिजनेस और मेरे ढाबे की सेल दोनों को आगे बढ़ाएगा,
और देश को भी। अब ना कोई झंझट, ना कोई परेशानी।
ईवे बिल ईमानदारी की निशानी।
अधिक जानकारी के लिए eWaybill.gov.in पर लॉगिन करें या राज्य या केंद्र के निकटतम GST ऑफिस से संपर्क करें। CBIC द्वारा जनहित में जारी।
मैं कभी कभी सोचता हूँ कि ये सिगरेट या बीड़ी पीने का क्या परिणाम होगा। क्या ये मेरे स्ट्रोक का कारण बन जाएगा, जो मुझे अपने परिवार पर बोझ बना देगा? क्या ये मेरे फेफड़ों के कैंसर का कारण बन जाएगा? क्या ये मुझे मुंह के कैंसर या हृदय रोग या एम्फीसीमा के करीब लाएगा? अगली बार जब आप सिगरेट या बीड़ी पीने की सोचें, तो खुद से पूछें, ये सिगरेट या बीड़ी पीने का क्या परिणाम होगा? तंबाकू आज ही छोड़ें। सहायता के लिए 1800-112356 पर कॉल करें या मिस्ड कॉल दें 01122901-701 पर।
नमस्कार
बच्चन साहब, आइए आइए आइए।
हम लोग डोनेशन लेने आए हैं
जी।
पर्यावरण के लिए।
डोनेशन? जरूर जरूर। कहाँ है डोनेशन बॉक्स?
ये रहा। मिल गया मैं डोनेशन।
ये छोटे छोटे काम, यही तो है बड़ा दान।
स्विच ऑफ हुआ यहाँ, अरे लाइफ ऑन हुई वहाँ, यहाँ बंद हुआ नल, वहाँ बदला देखो कल, करके कारपूल, हवा में घुली मुस्कान, प्लास्टिक छोड़ झोला लिया, बचाई जीवों की जान। कुछ हरे भरे काम अपनी धरती के नाम, कुछ हरे भरे।
समझ गए?
हाँ, समझ गया सर। अंदर नल ऑन है।
चलिए, एक और जुड़ गया ग्रीन गुड डीड्स अभियान से। हम सबको भी हर दिन करनी है ग्रीन गुड डीड्स, यानी कुछ हरे भरे काम अपनी धरती के नाम।
इतने सारे फल फूल, वाह कमाल है भाई।
सब शौचालय का आशीर्वाद है मिश्रा।
शौचालय? शौचालय नहीं,
शौचालय, वो भी 2 गड्ढों वाला। 7 साल पहले मैंने इनसे कह दिया था, शौचालय नहीं तो शादी नहीं।
और मैंने क्या जवाब दिया था? 2 गड्ढों वाला नहीं तो शौचालय नहीं।
2 गड्ढे? क्यों?
एक गड्ढा 5 साल में भर जाएगा शौच करते करते। उसके बाद लिवर को ऐसा घुमाओ और दूसरा गड्ढा खोल दो।
अरे दूसरी की क्या जरूरत है, इसी को साफ करवा दो ना। टट्टी तो है।
ये टट्टी नहीं है, ये सोना है। अरे ये गड्ढा भरने के बाद अगर 1 साल बंद रहेगा तो यही छीछी सोना बन जाएगा।
यानी सोनखार।
इसे हाथ से उठाओ और खेतों में मिलाओ और शौचालय का आशीर्वाद पाओ।
अब तो मैं भी बनवाऊंगा 2 गड्ढों का शौचालय।
और ये भाभी जी को दो।
धरती का उपहार है मिश्रा। शौचालय हो तो 2 गड्ढों वाला।
Welcome back to Cup of Glory. We are looking at Nigeria versus Argentina. Why I put Nigeria before Argentina? For the simple reason Nigeria in a better position than Argentina. Let's take a look at that head-to-head record between the two teams on how the South American as well as the African teams are placed. That head-to-head record there, Argentina clearly holding an advantage in the 8 games played, 5 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses and just 1 draw. So it's going to be a contest where Argentina is going to make something, out of it, because if they get 3 points there, they still stay alive in this particular World Cup and hope that Croatia do them a favor in that other game, or Croatia and Iceland play out a draw. Well, also key clashes in this Nigeria-Argentina game. There are many key clashes, but we picked 2. No Lionel Messi there. Gonzalo Higuain, the striker, needs to come to the party, or we need to have more of Sergio Aguero there in the middle for Argentina to see the back of the net with more goals. Another key clash, Ahmed Musa versus Otamendi. Remember, Otamendi has already picked up a yellow card for that rash tackle that he had against Rakitic, and it's going to be a tough task for him to stay cool, because Otamendi needs to stay cool in that particular game. Group D scenarios: Croatia top the group with a draw, or if they beat Iceland, Nigeria qualify here with a win over Argentina. That's straight and simple. The other scenario, Nigeria qualify with a draw and Iceland beat Croatia. That's not possible. Argentina, very straightforward mathematics for Argentina. They just need to beat Nigeria in this particular game and hope that Iceland draw or lose to Croatia. So that's something. The other game is going to be crucially watched, and Iceland and Argentina win. If they both win, then it's goal difference, and Argentina need to score more in this game to make the cut over Iceland in case both the teams end up on the winning note in this particular outing. So those are the scenarios there on how things could pan out in that particular game. Let's also take a look at, how do teams qualify in case points are tied in this particular World Cup. This is an interesting scenario. Goal difference in the matches between the teams. That's the first consideration, that, when teams are tied on points. Points obtained between the teams, that also comes into play. The second consideration, when teams, number of goals scored, that's going to be interesting. It will all boil down to that if both the team, Iceland and Argentina, win tonight. Fair play points with red and yellow cards. Argentina has already picked 4 yellow cards in this particular World Cup. Drawing of lots is another option there in this case when teams are tied on points in a World Cup. So those are interesting things that could happen in this World Cup. We hope that Argentina doesn't need any of that, or for that matter, Croatia do them a favor in that big outing tonight. Coming back to Saji here. Saji, looking at things, is that formation that Argentina is playing with 3 defenders, they paid a price against Croatia, is that a gamble that you see them going again tonight, or do you come back to your regular 4-4-2 that you play?
I think for me, I'll be looking into is that how they strengthen the midfield.
Okay.
And that is where their whole weakness lies. And that is where Messi is not coming into play.
Do you need to get an Angel Maria in there to
Yes, they need more fluidity, more pace, and they really need to play more defense penetrating passes. At present, what is happening is that they are playing square passes and they are very slow in the whole build up, which is not helping. And the Messi, if you need to bring the Messi on the game, therefore you need a player who really moves fast with him and really ready to create that space for Messi, and that if Messi doesn't find space, the team will find space. The problem is they are doing doing things very slow, and that way the opponent will always have advantage.
Okay, is the other problem that we are looking at, you know, the Argentinian team, is it playing too left heavy? You know, there is no movement on the right. Everybody wants to play left. You've got, you know, the entire side, except for Dybala there at the right, you had the entire side playing, you know, one half of that particular, you know, footballing field. Is that a big cause of concern? Do they need to get Dybala right up there in the front, so somebody makes some move or some balls are put there on the right flank for something to happen?
Yeah, absolutely. They need to have that variety in their game, and that is where they can put pressure to the opponent.
Okay.
And at present, what in last two matches, they could not put that kind of pressure to the defending team. And it was really easy for the opposition to put pressure on Argentina. And that is where they need to increase the tempo, and they need to really bring up, you know, from the midfield and up. And that is where they will find Messi more effective. And they need, you know, energy. They need that all commitment. They need to see that how they can attack and score more number of goals. They should not worry about anything else.
Okay, they need not worry about anything else. But all that I can tell Argentina is, you know, you need to look back at that 1990 World Cup opener where they made a mess of it, playing Cameroon in that opening fixture as defending champions. Maybe some lessons that Lionel Messi does bring to the field. Maybe Sampaoli's powers are taken away and Lionel Messi is given a free hand to do things the way he wants, because he leads this side, and maybe things turn up, you know, a different story to narrate tomorrow morning with Argentina. But now let's also take a look at the matches gone by on how things panned out in Group B and Group A. Group A, the first game, table toppers there, Spain escaping with a draw, I would say. Not many expected things to go their way. They expected this to be straight and simple, but in the end, Spain there managing a 1-1 draw against Morocco. But then Morocco putting up a serious fight in that particular outing, did trouble many of the big teams there. They looked rather iffy in that particular outing, but then they came to the party in that final match and did strike a chord there with their fans, and surprising Spain, holding them to a 1-1 draw. So Spain with 2 draws and 1 win are table toppers with 5 points. Next game, Portugal, that we were talking about, VR technology coming in for serious criticism. This particular game too, Iran and Portugal playing out a 2-2 draw in that particular outing. Cristiano Ronaldo missing a penalty in the end, but in the end such things don't matter. What mattered is that Spain and Portugal, table topper Spain, number 2 team from that group is Portugal. A look at the points table at the completion of group matches there in Group B on how the teams are. Spain and Portugal both finishing with 5 points, but then Spain and Portugal qualifying there. Remember, we mentioned the points on which how the teams end up getting placed 1 and 2, but in the end there, both the teams having that firepower, Spain and Portugal making the cut there as the number 1 and number 2 teams from that particular group. Now, also let's take a look at Group A, you know, where things were expected. Uruguay there ending up as table toppers in that game, and Uruguay, you know, Edison, Cavani, the big names of Uruguayan football all coming to the party in that outing, in that final outing against Russia, and winning that tie comfortably there. Edison Cavani, Luis Suarez led from the front there with that opening goal, and Edison Cavani in the end sealing that particular win for them. A comfortable win for Uruguay there, and sealing the place as table toppers over Russia. Meanwhile, Russia, after starting off pretty strongly, losing that final game there to end second in that group. A look at that stats from that particular game played between Uruguay and Russia there. Purely in terms of shots on goal, not much that Russia can boast of. And if you see this particular game, you know, South American team coming good there in that game, and Uruguay, you know, finally showing why it mattered to them to be there, you know, such a strong to be such a strong threat there in this particular World Cup as we reach that knockout stage. The final game there in that particular group, Saudi Arabia and Egypt. Egypt started scoring, but in the end it was Saudi Arabia that picked 3 points there. Mohamed Salah, you know, expected to fire in this World Cup, getting his name there back on the scorecard for the second match straight, but not being able to lead his side to a winning end there. Saudi Arabia, after 12 World Cup games, finally get a win under the belt, and, you know, can say goodbye to the tournament. Both Egypt and Saudi Arabia knocked out. Look at that points table there from that particular group, Group A, on how things panned out. Uruguay 3 matches, 3 wins, 9 points. Russia finishing with 6 points there. Saudi Arabia finally opening their account, but not enough to take them through to the next round, getting knocked out along with Egypt. The 2 sides that qualify from the group, Uruguay and Russia, qualify for round 2 or the round of 16. Well, that's all we have time for, but time to say goodbye to Shaji here. Thank you. Appreciate you joining us this evening in the studios. A pleasure having you here as always.
Pleasure.
Well, that's all we have time for. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. Take care. We're going to be back again at 7 p.m. Do stay and watch Cup of Glory. Thanks for watching.
DD Sports, the spirit of India.